Hello, this is the Captain Paxo with a weapon guide for the Bulldog in Battlefield 4. Firstly, the big question. Why would you use the Bulldog over the SHARE? They both have the same damage model, effective range, mag size, and vertical recoil. On top of that, the SHARE has faster reload, faster muzzle velocity, less horizontal recoil, and less spread per shot. Well, the answer is that the Bulldog is much better up close with a higher rate of fire and less spread whilst moving. And due to it being bullpup, it also has a better hip fire than most weapons. But because it's bullpup, it also has a longer reload than most weapons. And in this sense, I think the Bulldog has just as much in common with the FAMAS as it does with the SHARE. With that out of the way, what would I not recommend for the Bulldog? Well, I wouldn't recommend the heavy barrel since it has a reasonable amount of recoil already, and I wouldn't advise adding any more. So why not use the angled grip in conjunction with it? Well, the angled grip only affects the first shot and is therefore really useful when tap firing. However, you usually want to be using the Bulldog in full auto, and when in full auto, only one bullet's recoil will be affected by the angled grip, whereas all the bullets' recoil will be affected by the heavy barrel. On top of that, the angled grip reduces weapons accuracy, which in this case undoes some of the effectiveness of the heavy barrel. I also wouldn't recommend the muzzle brake simply because vertical recoil is easier to control than horizontal, and since the Bulldog has a fair amount of horizontal recoil, I like to use the compensator. Makes recoil much more manageable. Now, grips. We already determined that the angled grip is not the best for the Bulldog, so what is it? To be perfectly honest, I think that either ergo or stubby grip is fine. If you pair the ergo grip with the laser sight, then you have some really good hipfire for an assault rifle, but I'm pretty bad with hipfire, as you can probably see by this video, so I'm going with the stubby grip to kind of counteract some of the effects of the compensator. As far as attachments go, it's all up to you. I'd recommend the laser sight simply because this weapon already has good hipfire, and you might want to take advantage of that. I'm not, I kinda suck. Oh well. Optics are preference too, and I'm using a ×1 just because, really. So how to use this weapon? Well, if you're using the ergo grip with the laser sight, then I'd say use it like I use the P90. Start off with hipfire and then transition into ADS once you've centered the hipfire reticle on your opponent. I like to think of this as being similar to pre-fire, sorry. If you're using the stubby grip like me, however, you're going to be getting most of your kills ADS'd. As much as you might want to, try not to attempt counter-sniping with this weapon. Its recoil just is not good for it, you know? You want to close the distance between you and your opponent. And remember that you only need 4 bullets to kill someone at a close range, and since it fires 700 rounds per minute, that kills quite quickly. However, the downside to 700 rounds per minute and a 20 bullet mag is that it's very hard to be ammo efficient. If you go on a spree, you'll find yourself requesting ammo a lot, and having to reload a lot. A helpful trick is that if your aim is good, count 1, 2, 3, 4. When aiming at someone. Start counting once you start firing and let go of the trigger as soon as you finish counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, just like that. I find that it uses 4, sometimes 5 bullets, but it's a lot better than firing until you see the kill feed, because I find at that point I've fired about 7 bullets, sometimes even more. So practice that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. It'll make you much more ammo efficient. Speaking of reloading a lot, Bulldog is a bullpup weapon, which of course means it has a longer reload than non-bullpup weapons. If you're someone who doesn't use a lot of bullpup weapons, then you're going to have to practice your reload discipline. Treat it more like it's an LMG than an assault rifle. I know it isn't an LMG, but in terms of finding cover before reloading, this is the best I can do. If you do use a lot of bullpup weapons, then the reload shouldn't really trouble you all that much. But just in case you're caught reloading or you just run out of ammo, you should put on your sidearm of choice, because you're gonna need it. This weapon runs out of ammo fast, so having to swap to your sidearm mid-reload or during a long kill streak is going to happen a few times. So what are the advantages of the Bulldog? Well, it has good damage, solid fire rate, and good hipfire. Like I've said, this weapon wants you to play aggressively. If you're having problems with this weapon, honestly don't slow down. Speed up, move faster. That's seriously something that helps me. On the side of the disadvantages, it's pretty ineffective at long range. It has a small mag size and a long reload. Ammo management is key to this weapon. You know, that 1, 2, 3, 4. And so is knowing what fights you will not win. If your opponent is more than 50 meters out, I cannot recommend engaging them. You can try, but if you win, it's more out of incompetence on the enemy's side. Close the gap between you and your opponent to at least 30 meters for the best results. On top of that, try not to engage anyone with a substantial amount of cover in front of them, especially if they're above you or more than 25 meters out, say, because you're just putting yourself at a disadvantage in your gunfights. I know I've done this a few times in this video so far, and I've gotten lucky. This is definitely a case of do as I say and not as I do, because this is a really bad habit that I'm trying to get rid of. But anyway, this has pretty much been the end of the video, so if you have any other tips for using the Bulldog, leave them in the comments below. I hope you found this video entertaining or useful in some way, because if it wasn't, well, it's a pretty big waste of time for the both of us now, isn't it? So thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time.